Good morning, 5th grade. Welcome to your social studies class. We all know that the earth is a sphere. It is not flat. However, a drawing made to show an area of the earth is known as a map. It also helps you find out where a place is, or where a place is in relation to another place. However, students, before we go further into the lesson, we have to set some goals. The first goal is that by the end of this lesson, we should be able to list any 3 types of maps. We should also be able to identify the lines of latitude and longitude. And above all, we should be able to locate a place on the map. A map is a drawing made to show an area of the earth. This drawing may help you find the place you are looking for. What's interesting is, it might even help you find your own location. It might help you find a nearby trail to walk on, or dedicated lanes. It could help you find bicycle-friendly roads, or even show you live traffic. Maps also show mountains, rivers, valleys, landforms, borders between towns, cities, different countries, or even the height of hills and mountains. The 3 types of maps that we should be able to talk about, identify, and explain what they are by the end of this lesson are physical maps. Physical maps show hills, mountains, rivers, valleys, and other landforms. Also political maps. These maps show towns, cities, and borders between countries. And lastly, relief maps that shows height of hills and mountains. Physical maps are designed to show the natural landscapes of the earth. These landscapes are hills, mountains, rivers, valleys, oceans, seas, and many other landforms. Political maps are different from all other kinds of maps. These maps show administrative and government setups and boundaries. For instance, villages, towns, cities, and borders between countries. Political maps also show the different provinces or states, and even the country or the state capital. For instance, if we look at the map of Pakistan, the capital of Pakistan, which is Islamabad, is clearly shown on the map by a distinct black star shape. In a relief map, colors and textures show the height and depth of different landforms of the earth. Here are a few terms that you need to know for this lesson. These will help you understand and read maps better. The first one is meridians of longitude. Second, parallel of latitudes. Third, equator. Fourth, international dateline. Fifth, prime meridian. Sixth, grids. Seventh, keys. Eighth, scale. Do you remember where the North Pole is? Do you remember where the polar bears are? And do you remember where the penguins are? And is that place called the South Pole? Do you think there's a long distance between the North and South Pole? Do you think it's a long, long way from pole to pole? A very long, long way from North Pole to South Pole. And it is so long that we have to make long longitudes. Yes, longitudes are very long lines that come all the way from the North Pole, passing through the earth down all the way to the South Pole. The fourth term to know about in terms of reading maps is international dateline. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean is an imaginary line that is called the International Dateline. It runs from the North Pole to the South Pole and is almost directly on the opposite side of the Earth from the prime meridian. Did you know that the prime meridian is 0 degrees longitude? Long longitudes. Remember, longitude lines are imaginary lines that run from north to south and divide the Earth into 360 parts. They even help us to find out on a map if we are in the eastern or the western hemisphere of the Earth. The International Dateline is a line drawn to officially separate 2 different days on the calendar. So on one side of that line, it's Tuesday, and on the other side of the line, it's Wednesday. If you stood on one side and then hopped over to the other, you could say you're sort of time traveling. You know, I wish I could have my right foot on one side of the International Dateline and my left foot on the other side of the International Dateline. Then I could say that I am standing both in Tuesday and Wednesday. How cool is that? Equator. The third term you need to know in order to be able to read maps. The equator is the waist of the Earth, much like our belly button area, which is the waist area of our body. It runs directly around the middle of the globe, that is the equator. It divides north from south. Any area above the equator is the northern hemisphere, and any area below the equator is the southern hemisphere. So, the equator divides north from south and runs non-stop like a train from east to west. Did you know that the equator is the hottest part of the planet as well? The equator is a latitude of warm weather that winds a hot band around the middle of the rotating Earth. This is the 0 degree latitude. Did you know that? The fifth important term to know and understand in terms of reading maps is the prime meridian. The prime meridian is a longitude. Remember, I told you longitudes are long lines that start all the way from the North Pole all the way down to the South Pole. These are long, longitudinal, vertical lines. So just like that, the prime meridian is also an imaginary long longitudinal line that divides the Earth into eastern and western hemisphere. At times it is also referred to as the Greenwich Meridian. This imaginary line passes through 3 continents: Europe, Africa and Antarctica, and 4 major countries: United Kingdom, France, Spain and Western Africa. The prime meridian, as it passes through Greenwich, England, is considered 0 degrees longitude. The 7th important term to know about in terms of reading maps is a key or keys. A map key, also known as legend, is included with a map to unlock it. It gives you the information needed for the map to make sense. Maps often use symbols or colors to represent things, and the map key explains what they mean. Map keys are often boxes in the corner of the map, and the information they give you is essential to understanding and reading the map. Symbols in the key might be pictures or icons that represent different things on the map. Sometimes the map might be colored or shaded, and the key explains what the colors and the shades mean. Do you remember which map is shaded and colored that I spoke to you about? Was it the physical map or the relief map? The last term you need to know and understand in terms of reading a map is scale. A map scale sounds like something you use to weigh a map, that is to find the weight of a map. But actually this is not true. The truth is that a map scale is actually a tool for measuring distance. Let's learn how to determine scale and how to use a map scale. Have you ever used a map? Some people use maps to guide them to unfamiliar places, and some people use them to learn about faraway lands. But maps are smaller versions of the real thing. Imagine if you unfolded a map of Lahore city and that map was as big as Lahore city. It would be virtually unusable. That is to say, we would not be able to use it. That's why cartographers or people who make maps use map scale. Map scale is the relationship between distance on the map and distance in real life. That means that distance on the map always has a constant ratio with distance on the ground. Let me break this down into easier words for you. A map scale might say that 1 inch is equal to 1 kilometer. So if you measured from one point to another and it was 2 inches, then in reality it would be 2 kilometers. Here is an end of today's lesson assignment for you. The best way to do the assignment is a little secret I'll share with you. If I were you, I would go through every single slide, every single text in it, and every single map and figure and diagram in it. Then I would also listen to every single slide in terms of what the audio recording can teach me. And then I would read through the book as well. And after that, this assignment should be a piece of cake for you. And I hope to talk to you guys again soon. Goodbye.